We're in the studio with Lieutenant Mckendrick, Engine 14, C Shift.
C Shift.
Yep, C Shift. So tell me a little bit about what you want to talk about today.
So if we could go back, I have been a student of leadership stuff probably for the last 3 to 4 years. I started this journey. It started out just as like a personal journey. I really didn't know where it was going, but it was with my Audible account, with hardback books, and just trying to work on my person.
Yeah.
When I was lucky enough to come into this job a little later in life, with having worked for a lot of different characters and a lot of different people, good and bad. But my first lieutenant here was like probably one of the best people that you could want to work for, much less know.
So who was that?
Lieutenant Hires, may he rest in peace. He was probably the one of the finest fire officers I've ever worked for or been around. He's also just, he's an enormous human being on the inside and the outside. He was, I love him to death. He's like, he's my other dad.
Right.
Anyway, so trying to model myself off of his character and like his leadership style. And so I didn't know where this journey was going to take me. So it took a while, and I don't know if it was apprehension or fear to do what I'm doing now. I think as far back as a couple of years ago, I wanted to do this, and I wanted to incorporate other people and to take some other people on this journey with me. But it was, I don't know how to do that. The time wasn't right?
Yeah.
And
got a lot to play with it.
Yeah, and I've learned a few lessons over the years. Like when I try to really control stuff, it never really goes the way that I wanted it to. It just, I make it different. I don't really make it better. So it's, yeah, I guess the time just really wasn't right. And over the last year, I've done extra work, and to go back about 2 years ago, to be honest with you, I was working at Station 9, and I was there with Pete Garolo, who's Lieutenant Garolo now, and we just got hamming it up about leadership stuff, and come to find out, he's as versed, if not more versed, than I am when it comes to leadership techniques and leadership styles. And we really hit it off, and that was the next step that I needed to know, that I wasn't by myself in this, that there was other people who thought the same way that I did.
Yeah.
But maybe for them the time wasn't right as well either, or it just hadn't got to that point. I don't know. And he talked to me about Captain Green. He's like, well, Green is, he does more work than me, and he's just like us, he says. And I'm like, well, shoot, let's do this. And of my own fault, I sat on it again, and I should have started this then, but I wasn't ready, I don't think. And let's fast forward.
The time's got to be right.
Well,
you can't.
I honestly, though, the time is never right. It's never going to be
true.
right. You have you have kids, Chris. That
Yeah.
You can try to say, well, I'm going to wait till this. No, it's you just got to do it. And so, fast forward to Dr. Belante's leadership fundamentals he had here at headquarters, and from the first day when I walked in, I was like, this is it. This is the time. I'm going to use this, because
This is the now.
Lo and behold, Captain Green sitting across from me, Lieutenant Stringer sitting right next to me, everyone in the room. It was one of those things where it's like we all think alike. What have I been waiting for?
Right.
And so now that the time has been right all along, but now it was solidified. So I made it public to those guys that I wanted to do this, and you wouldn't believe the relief that I experienced when I pitched this to them that I wanted to do this. They're like, instantly on board.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. And so we're off at the races, and the idea is to give us a model, if you will, a model of.
Oh, you got the room.
Yeah, I got the
setting that new podcast stuff.
Right.
We're still learning this too.
Everything around us makes noise right now. So if a flag waves, who knows what it's going to sound like? But I dare not touch my coffee mug because
I know, so I'm holding mine in my hand. So. Go ahead and grab it. All right,
there we go.
Informal.
All right, so
look at that.
I might have to sip. Who knows when I take a sip of this? This is a slurping sound. What I want to do is I want us all to come together. If you look at every major organization, successful or unsuccessful, they all have meetings, right? There's meetings for this, there's a meeting for that. Well, what is the intent? The intent is that everyone get on the same page.
Right.
We're going to put this information out there and let's all come together. Well, think of how many leaders that we have in the department who, we're all operating essentially the same way, but are we? Right? Yeah. And there's a little bit of safety in that we kind of know that we're all doing kind of the same thing. But if you ask yourself, why do we go to fire conferences, and why do we go to? Because the message that comes across is a message that the right. Yeah. It's always like the right thing.
Yeah. Do the right thing.
Let's do the right thing. Be this way. Let's get you jazzed up. And you've heard this before, whether it's internally or externally, but there's something about being with your comrades, and there's something about the message in a big room with a bunch of you that really kind of solidifies it. And so I had that feeling when I pitched this to these guys, and it was like, this is what I needed. It was the element, it's already in me. I need to see it in other people to help it get solidified. And I'm telling you, I have no idea how to do this. But if I look at it like, if I don't do it, who's going to do it?
Right.
And I'm probably not the best person to do this, but I'm going to take it on nonetheless.
Right.
And this is kind of like part of my own personal journey of making myself better. And if I can take other people with me, let's do it.
Yeah.
But the message is going to be, I want us to be consistent, at least as consistent as we can be when it comes to how we lead and, how we're perceived by our firefighters, right? Because it's my backseat guy. It's my engineer. It's your engineer. It's the captains, the lieutenants working under the captain. They're going to come and lead right behind us.
Yeah,
right.
You're paving the way.
And so whether you want to admit it or not, they will be a reflection of you.
Yeah,
and so
100% agree.
What is that? What is the reflection that you're putting out there? And this is not, I'm not just saying this to everyone else. I need to hear this as well. Because it's a day-to-day. Anyone who's led people knows that you don't show up every single day as the best version of yourself. It's work. It's always work. And you have to constantly keep an eye on it as far as the boundaries that you have, because with a decent leader, there has to be some type of boundary. That's going to be fluid, right? And you need to be able to adjust those, but it's a constant adjustment, because your crew is going to change every couple of years, if not sooner than that. And personalities change. So when that happens, you have to change your boundary with them, or personal boundaries, things like that. But to me, consistency, that needs to be almost paramount with us. Right. At least how our firefighters view the leadership. I want to give I at least want to give and suggest us to be a respected leadership model for our firefighters to follow. Is
Right.
what I want.
Like you said, you're paving the way for them
Right.
going up. You're teaching them how to lead.
Right. And, you know, it's not about specific this or specific that. And I'm not about complaints. I'm not about like complaining about this. I want to be honest with you. It's, you know, I'm part of the problem, right? I'm a firm believer that most of the issues that any department has, not just ours, can be solved from within, if not at the station level. Because I'm not sure how to put this, but, you know, I think for far too long, you know, our leaders on the street level have like subjugated our personal responsibility for the stations, you know, to those above us. You know, we've kind of, you know, taken a step back out of that role. You know, I'm not responsible for morale. I'm not responsible for well, yes, you are.
Yeah, you 100% are.
You 100% are. That is your show, right? And so I'm here to bring the positive side of this. Like, it's up to us. This is the work that needs to be done. I think is easy work. You know, it's not. You know, it's not going to have to take a massive change on a personal level unless you know. I can't sit in this chair and think of anyone out there that has to do massive personal changes in order to be able to be a better leader. Sometimes it's the smallest change can make a difference. And sometimes just going to what, you know, to what I'm throwing out there, sometimes going to something like this can be just what you need, you know, to instigate that change. Because, you know as well as I do, sometimes there's just something that someone says, it's like, I needed to hear that.
Yep.
I needed to hear that.
100%.
And, you know, I'm keeping this for lieutenants and captains, but because we're the ones who are responsible, like, on paper, and, you know, in reality, we're the ones who are responsible from the for the station day-to-day operations, you know, from our administration's perspective and from our own perspective. But honestly, anyone can lead.
Yeah.
You know, you can. My backseat guy, he could be a leader at the station.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I would.
You don't need that title. And that's the big thing. Is, you know, people always think you need this title to be. Well, he's a captain. He's got to be the leader.
No, I mean, so there was I heard this one time, and it made so much sense to me. And it's a really old saying, and I'm going to see if I can get it right. But I believe he said that if you're, I can only paraphrase it, you know you got it right if they did it themselves, right?
Right.
And think that they did it themselves. I can't remember the exact quote, but that's, to me, it was, I heard it and I was like, well, yeah, part of leadership is, you know, let them do it themselves, you know, and learning, you know, self-reliance, but they get that from you.
Right. And it's okay to be, like, if they do something on their own, it's okay for them to fail.
Yes.
It's a learning experience.
It's okay for us to fail at this too, but part of it is just opening your eyes, like, and recognize it. Because we all know when that thing comes flying out of our face that you're like, ugh,
yeah,
I shouldn't have said that. And that's all right. It's in when you recognize it, you know, for the next go round, you know, to me, that's the key.
Yeah.
And the last thing I want is, you know, because I know how we operate. We love complaining. You know, we hate the way it is.
Yeah.
We hate change.
Yep. 100%.
And we've gotten used to complaining about dad, so to speak, right? You know, and I'm not about that, because I'm responsible of the day-to-day of my station. It's up to me when I have to make a personal commitment on the way to work every single day to set the tone.
Correct.
And I'm at the worst possible station. Some people look at it like the worst station you could be assigned to.
Yeah, you're at the busiest station through.
This is
thick and thin.
This is coming from the guy who's on the 2 worst trucks most of the time.
Yeah, when you get that brake on the engine.
Yeah,
when you're running more calls than the engine.
What's funny is a couple of years ago I was telling people, I'm like, it is no brake. You don't understand. Like, I want to get on the engine. I'm like, that engine is not a brake. It's the worst truck ever, and it's the worst for your sleep and for your biology, but for call
look at the pride you guys have in that station. You can't go to 14 and not just bleed pride.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, you guys really do, and that comes from the leadership.
And that was a collection of there's a lot of people who bought into that and created that, and more so from I want to, now that you say that, I want to give Luke Nehemias and Captain Ted Garland, I want to give them a lot of credit for. There was a lot of work that's been done at that station.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of years. A lot of people on the cruise, not just those two. They're just the first two that come to my minuscule mind first thing this morning off of 1 cup of coffee. But there's, everyone has buy-in at that place. Mm-hmm. It's a great place.
Yeah.
But all this stuff is coming from the guy who's on like the 2 crappiest rigs out there. And if I feel this way, there's got to be more of us.
Yeah.
So I want I would like, I would appreciate it if people could come and just hear us out, and be part of this, be part of what we see is not necessarily a new direction, but kind of maybe cleaning up our act, if you will.
Yeah.
Because we need some work, and myself included. I'm an imperfect being. It's a day-to-day for me, So
it's one of those things where you work on yourself every day, and that's there's days you come in and you didn't sleep well the night before, or you got stuff going on at the house, or the family life, or whatever the case may be. And that's the day where the other leadership kicks in. It's the day that you show up to me. I don't feel like being here. I don't want to be here. But then your engineer steps up and is like, all right, we're going to go out and work out, and we're going to go do this, and we're going to go do that.
Right.
And then that's when to me as a leader, everybody's motivating everybody to get stuff done. And, I heard a quote a long time ago. Don't quote me on this one, but
you can butcher it like I did.
Yeah, butcher it like I did. But it was like, you've made it well as leader when you can't pick out the leader in the pack.
Yeah.
So, when you look at a group of guys, say it's, the 6 guys or 7 guys at Station 14, or the 20,000 that they have at 5, or the 20 that they're going to have, whatever it is, or the 3 at Station 3 or 9. When you look at the group and you take everybody's ranks off of them, and general public can't pick out the leader.
If you can't tell the leader from them.
That's when you have a gelled, well-oiled machine, because not everybody's going to be that person every day.
Right.
It takes a lot. There's ups and downs. Life takes you left and right. And that's the mental health aspect of it too, is it takes you left and right, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Something didn't go right, or we didn't get this, or we didn't get that, and that's when you lean on your other guys, and they pick you up, and they motivate you. All right, slap your head, all right, let's get back to work. Because, all in all, our job, and I'm speaking from a little different point, but you can relate to this, but our job is to run the calls and to serve the public to our highest ability, and we do a really good job of it, I believe. There's always room for improvements,
right?
On everything we're doing, but I think our job is, bottom line, if you scratch down to it, is to run calls and serve them, no matter what it is. Yes, we go to some stupid calls, and people shouldn't be calling, but
right.
Other than some education, like how do we, there are only going to be more of them. There's only going to be more calls. There's only going to be more, stupid things that happen. But that's just the nature of 911 system. There's not a department that's not doing the same thing we're doing.
Well, yeah, and if we just use what you're talking about now, as an example, right? This happened to me. I'm going to say several months back. We get called into our territory to help one of our residents with a smoke detector.
Yeah.
And it's groaning. What do we do? What is this? Like, why do we do this? And we get there, and she's elderly, right? And her ceilings are like 10 foot tall.
Yeah.
And so we do what needs to be done. We change them for her, and no one has an attitude or anything, and we don't. There's no hassling or or anything like that.
You guys out there harassing 90-year-old ladies?
No. But on the way out, I said to her, I said, now look, if you need, these things need to be replaced. The fire rescue cannot, I can't in good conscience come back and start drilling into your ceiling. The apartment's not really going to like if I get out there and I really start getting involved in this. I was like, but, if you don't have anyone to do this, and I gave her my name and my cell phone number. I said, if you need someone, if you don't have anyone else, call me up. Yeah. I'll come out here and I'll do this for you. And my crew kind of looked at me. And they were like, well, that's not our job. I said, I'm going to tell you what. Anytime a citizen, looks to us for that capacity, that is someone who, she has no idea who we are, invites us into her home, yeah, and is entrusting us with the one of the most, I mean, she may not even know it, but one of the most needed safety devices in her house. It's like, I'm going to be a part of that, and I tell you what, any crew who works for me, I don't care if it's just changing the smoke detector batteries, we will do this. Yeah. And so things like that, when they hear that from you, they know that this is the standard that I'm setting for them. And so, whatever their personal feelings are, this is what needs to happen. Yeah. And the more often that happens, it becomes the norm, right? Yeah. It should be normal for us to want to help people, and we get in the mode of let's complain,
yeah, and it's easy. Like, you guys running 20 calls a shift, and you've gone to all 20 or 19 of them are all last
night, same thing, smoke detectors, and they looked at me and they're smiling, and I'm like, we're gonna do this, and same story, second floor, they're 12 feet up in the air, yeah, and I'm standing on the very top of like a tripod ladder, and they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, we're doing what needs to be done, right, because what do you want? You want her to go up there and stand on this ladder? Yeah. Right, and most elderly people are on a budget, so I'm going to have to spend $300 for what I can do right now in 5 minutes. No, we're doing this, and we're gonna enjoy it. Yeah, and I'm not relegating that to my crew. I'm doing it, so they see me getting up there and doing it.
Right, it's not a go up there and do it. It's a let's do this together, and that's the leadership side of things, right? Yeah. That's that, like, I think a lot of people need to recognize the downstream side of things. Like, it's one thing to go to the calls, for instance, that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can't get to the battery. All right. Chances are her house isn't going to catch fire, but what happens if it does? Right. What happens if she's trapped in there? What happens if now we're going in there? What happens if we're not out the door quick enough? Now we're going to, just play that out, and now we get there late, and now she's deceased inside the house that we couldn't change her batteries, or we didn't want to change her batteries. And that's just a simple, small little task. Yes, it takes time. Yeah. But
what if she's a really good friend with the county commissioner?
Yep, exactly.
What if she's works for, and this is the other side of it. What if she's works under the Chamber of Commerce here locally in town, or it has influence? Yeah. Oh, I mean,
you don't know who people are connected to.
This is like, it's not an image. This is what people expect of us. Yeah. They expect us to be on the right side of things. They expect us to do the right thing. And, what I'm not doing is, I'm not saying that we're out there not doing the right thing. Right. But I'm also going right back to, we need to kind of get together and hear this from each other. Yeah. And there's something about that when that other people are thinking the same thing you are. And this is the message, I needed to hear this, and let's do this. And I'm telling you, it has an effect.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to take some people with me.
Yeah. Take them on the journey.
Take them on the journey. Let's do this.
Yep. So with that, what else you got? We got August coming up for.
We got August 7th.
Talk about that meeting.
I got August 7th and August 8th. It will be at the Union Hall from 9 to 12. I had to give it a time frame just because if I don't, there's too many question marks. So I gave it 3 hours. If it lasts an hour, if it lasts 5, I don't care. I'm off both days. I took that C shift off just to give so I'm completely open all day long. And yeah, like I said, I have no idea how to do this. I don't know how long it's going to take.
Yeah.
I honestly, I have a bunch of notes and I have volumes and pages of stuff that I've jotted down. But I had a meeting with, and let me give these guys a plug. So the people, the gentlemen that are doing this with me, we have Captain Green, we have Captain Stringer, Lieutenant Jeremiah McNeish, Lieutenant Jared Solana, myself. We all have the same, we all feel the same. And so when I threw this out there, it was like, I have all these notes, and we all got together at the Union Hall just to kind of get all on the same page. And they all had so much to say. I think we were there for like 2.5 hours. I never even got to speak.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great. I was like, holy cow. Like,
it's nice not talking, but talking all in the same sense.
It felt so good to have almost everything I had written down echoed back to me without me uttering one word. Yeah. And to their credit, like, these are all fantastic guys. And it's, yeah, they feel like I do, and we're going to use this as like a platform to get a good message out to us and to be there for each other, because this could be about support. Imagine we're going to have a pile of new officers. Yeah,
we're only getting bigger. Well, 4 stations coming up next 5 years, so roughly.
Not everyone, is going to be blessed with working alongside of a motivated or a great leader or someone who imparts a lot of knowledge out there. So you might need something, and
right.
You want to have the support of your peers, right? Mm-hmm. And of the people that you work for. But this could be one of those times. Come and be around people in the same situation you are. And and you might have something going on at the station. I don't know what to do. And I guarantee you, if you arrive with something like that, someone has been down that road before.
Yeah, right? Especially with a group, almost like a panel.
Yeah.
A leadership panel.
Throw it out there. And, this is going to be semi-organic. I want to hear from people about this.
Right.
I want to not say the things that people want to hear, but I want things to be covered that are important to our leaders, and I'm going to try.
Yeah,
we're going to try.
You got to start somewhere. Yeah. You got to keep it moving, keep the ball moving.
Yeah.
So nice. I like it. So, well, you mentioned Dr. Belante's class.
Yes.
So we do have another one coming up in September. If you haven't enrolled, I think enrollment ends at the end of this month.
To give Dr. Belante a well-deserved plug, that was one of the because like I said, I've read a dozen leadership books. I listen to podcasts. I have between YouTube and all this, I try to exercise my leadership brain as much as possible and absorb as much as possible. But he has more to offer than you could imagine.
Yeah.
More than you can imagine.
I've had nothing but good feedback from that class.
God. So, just from the legal aspect, he was saying things in there that no one has ever heard of and no one ever thought of. And it was even if you just go for that, it was a huge eye-opener. But he has so much to offer. You honestly need to give that class over like a month. I mean, so you can tell he's also the he's over the Flagler College program there.
Correct.
So,
Yep.
Of course, he's a library of this stuff. But yeah, I 100% recommend anyone who can take that. Please do. It is so worth your time. It's a small investment for how much you get out of it. And yeah, please do.
Yeah.
He actually called me not long ago, excited about this, as I'm expressing to him that my nerves are on fire right now about this. And he's like, "Oh no, man, you got this."
Yeah.
And I'm like I don't know. And yeah, so
well, it's that grassroots program that just we have a formal class, then it's organic from there. Like you said, it's just organic. It's grassroots. Because you guys at that level need similar guys at that level, and also to be able, like you said, bounce stuff off of like, hey, feel weird about this. My crew's trying,
Right.
not try to obviously everybody knows everybody. We're not a huge department, but we pretty much all know each other. But it's one thing to shoot something from the hip, but then it's also one thing to, all right, let me sleep on this. Let me talk to a couple people. I have this going on. I want to try this. I want to do this. I want to, some things go well, some things don't. But that's like that failure thing we talked about. Fail, just go back and we'll fix it. We'll
find a new way.
Yep.
Here you go.
Yep.
And it's there's a few of us doing this. None of us are looking to be like the leader of the leaders or anything like that. To be honest with you, all of us are students in this, just like everyone else.
Yeah.
It's
like a leadership study.
Yeah, it's like a. I dare not call it a meeting because the idea of a meeting sounds gross, and it's not necessarily a conference because it's just a bunch of guys. We have some things to say, but we have so much input and so much to give.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I think so. So August 7th, August 8th. 9 to 12. I have some buy-in from some respected lieutenants out there. We're going to get a couple of them to show up. Maybe, hopefully, I can get some of the on-duty stuff. But you know how that goes. It could be calls and who knows. And our union hall is right in the thick of it. So
yeah, and when you come into the vortex, it's like you're never getting out.
Yep. Oh yeah, and that's the apex of the vortex right there.
Yep. Well, cool. I think
Chris,
that you got anything else?
No, I appreciate you giving me the platform. This is epic. This podcast is a really good thing. It says I dare not say potential because you're already using it and for all kinds of stuff. So it's like this is way beyond my capacity of that. But well done. Thank you.
Yeah, well,
this was
we'll
epic.
get it edited and get it out there and on to the next one.
I love it.
All right, heading out.
See ya.
See ya.